live. It's the marketing meeting impromptu, a special edition show. Hopefully, we're going to have more regular meetings after Xmas, and we can sort the schedule out. But we have Federico, Lara, and Sam, and let's go straight to the doc, and which I'm just sort of getting into shape over here. Before we go through any previous action items, Federico, did you have anything on your mind at the moment?
Really just newsletter related, getting Joe set up with the AV account.
Right.
Elijah's.
Yes.
And therefore setting her up with Elastic email through that email address. Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's about it.
Great. Lara, anything that you need us to cover today?
No, I just think it's the same. I think it's, whatever Joe's recommended there in terms of like the testimonials and that. I think, it's something that we've been trying to push all year. So I think it would be great.
Yeah, no, it would be lovely.
So I've just been going through the AdWords. I'm still busy with that.
All right. Yeah, good show. And Joe's here with us. Hey, Joe.
Hiya.
Hey, Joe.
How you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Excellent, excellent. And we're live and streaming, and we're just doing our beginning bits of things that we usually do in the marketing meetings when we have them, which is we're about to look through the previous action items and sort of go around each person and check if there are things that they particularly need covered in the meeting. Federico's already mentioned newsletter, getting an email account for you, an Elastic email set up for you. I think Lara doesn't have any new agenda points. Do I have a new agenda point? I guess that I have things on the other conference, NHS wiki stuff. Nothing else immediately springs to mind. I guess the other critical thing is that I just mentioned is this sponsee form. Joe, besides the things that Federico has mentioned here, and I assume you can see my screen, was there anything that you need checked in this meeting? Anything that's blocking you from getting things done?
Oh, sorry. It was mainly just the email account and just setting up on Elasticmail, because then I can just work from there and get back to it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, and no pressure to have items. Oh, that's great. Well, let's make sure we get those done. Yeah, and welcome to the marketing team. Wonderful to have you with us, and your energy and enthusiasm has already been, a huge boon for us. And we're like, yay, Joe, exciting.
Thanks.
Good show. So what I'll just do there is I'll pop in action items. Were there other action items from here? This was the previous action items from the previous thing. Okay. So I think we'll maybe, some of these other things are going to go on the back burner, but AdWords investigation done. Old ones, their social media. I guess I noticed that someone's doing a social media posting for us this month, like the 12 Days of Christmas or what have you. Is that you, Lara?
Yeah, that's me.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think that's very popular and being done and fantastic. I guess we've got we have an action item of who will want to take on the social media for January.
I'm happy to just carry on. If somebody wants to jump in as well, it's great. I mean, Buffer really does make it easy to just find content and post, but what we do need to look at is for doing some social media posts around Agile Ventures, which we need to put together.
Right.
So just in terms of pushing AV more in the new year. So if we're doing those testimonials and the videos like Joe suggested, I think that's
right.
Be a great idea.
Excellent. And so Joe, if you're interested, learning more about Buffer and how to use that, I'm sure it sounds like Lara, we're very happy to have you join in with that.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll definitely look at using some of the interviews for the social media posts as well.
Great, good show. So then we've got one thing, the rich data snippets for the NHS. I'm just looking and I see that I actually have pushed some part of that out to the NHS system. I guess maybe this is not the time to go. I guess given that I've started, I will push the rest of it out. It's with this out, Lara, we can then create this structured data. Have you got a specific idea about the structured data that you want to add using the Semantic Wiki plugin?
Yeah. like make the logo more semantic and all of that. So when you search it on Google, then it pops up on the side.
Right. Yeah.
And
That's go on.
there is that. So I mean, semantic and rich cards. It's not something that I've really practiced in the past
Mhm.
because put into like a breadcrumb.
Mhm. Mhm.
And now with the wiki, I wasn't 100% sure. And then when I read it, when I did my research, it just said that rich cards is great if you're running and things like that, or products that you want to push.
Mhm.
That was the difference between rich cards and semantic. So the semantic still seems like the right thing to go with.
Yeah.
Because we're also doing a blog. So it's also great if you're writing a blog.
Right. Sure. Yeah. I mean, the thing I can see, and I got this. You know, I did more research and found out what I could do with the semantic plugin on the staging server, and it allows the media wiki syntax. And you maybe can't see this, the others can. Is that one can use a special syntax to kind of say, like, you know, mark a book title as being a book title, mark a book author as being a book author, and then you can. It's got like an API to allow you to search through those things and say, all right, find all of the books in my site. That things that have been marked up in the kind of wiki syntax as a book. But for example, on the main logo, like our main logo is displayed outside of the wiki pages. So I don't know that having the semantic wiki plugin will necessarily allow us to do anything different with the logo. But I'm gonna complete the deploy anyway, and we'll see. We'll let's have another chat about it in the new year when we both got gone.
I would really appreciate the chance to test it, to see how it actually, if it doesn't work, then we can just uninstall it. But if it does make a big difference, then, I mean, we've both learned something new.
Sure,
so.
yeah. I guess the first instance, I was keen that you were maybe able to test some of the things that you wanted to do on staging so that we would know that it was working in the way that you expected.
We wouldn't be able to see the results on Google, though, because that's where you see the results.
No, absolutely. But at least the danger will be that I'll deploy something to production, and then you cut. Then even before testing whether it works on Google, there's testing that you can actually make the specific changes that you want to make. But anyway, I think let's leave that for the moment, and that's probably of less interest to Federico and Joe. I'll try and complete the deploy for that, and we'll obviously we'll sit down and look at it together in more detail at some point. Okay, so moving on from that, I think the podcast things, we can sort of leave those out. Yeah, I need to work on the tracking systems. Lara, you'll continue to work on the AdWords framework. I guess one thing on this is, so the new member meeting, we've talked about setting up a rota, but sorry, go on, Lara.
Sorry, I'm driving, so I'm actually going through a bit of a bad patch.
Yeah, no problem. I was just saying that we had a note in the previous action items about that, you know, for AdWords, but it's just, I was saying like you're covering that and it's under control.
Yeah. Just from the conversion tracking side.
Yes.
I know you've got a lot on your plate. But is that something like I could set up and then put a ticket, do a pull request or a ticket or something?
We have tickets. I mean, and if it's certainly something that other people could start working on if they wanted to. It's simpler on the non-profit sites than it is on the main Agile Ventures website. There are tickets in the backlog. So, and I'm very, very happy to work on it. You followed me on Twitter, so you can get, you know, if you want to book a session with me, we could sit down and do it together.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Maybe we should just look at, I don't know if we're going to have time this week. Do you have time this week?
I mean, I haven't prioritized that at the moment. I'm prioritizing this like big review of all of the premium members and kind of reaching out to all of them and so on. So
let's look at it. Yeah, let's look at it in the new year then.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I can. Yeah. All right, cool. What was I on there? So the thing that I was going to mention there was the new member meeting. So we've talked about getting a rota together. I guess we haven't achieved that yet. Maybe that's something that we're going to want to push in the new year. Federico, any thoughts on this item?
Yeah, sure. I almost made a post like to the Mentors channel to say, is anyone up to pairing? I was going to post a video of either like your session with Will or like the first session with Laura and I and Will, to try to get people to, because I know people won't respond, so maybe they'll at least watch the video.
Yeah.
But so I almost did that. I did not do it.
Okay.
So
that's certainly adding the video sounds like a great thing. So yeah. Go on, Laura.
Frederico, I'm driving. Can you just see if any of the other members can take the new members meeting today? Because unfortunately I can't.
Well, Laura, I don't think we should. Is it scheduled for today? I don't think, with such a short notice, I think no one will even attend. So it'd be.
Sam, if you can add it to your list that you send out, and you send out a list every morning of what's coming up for the day. I think if we can also put that into the list for Monday.
Yeah. Yes, and I didn't put it in this morning. I did see it does seem to be on like my shared Google Calendar. I'm not sure if it's in the main. I mean, I think that's another thing is that I guess probably what we should do is like probably avoid scheduling it on a repeating basis until we have worked out the rotor system.
Okay.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think we do have it as a repeating item in the thing there. So I guess that's going to need to be addressed. I've got
yeah, I think it'd be too tough to try to get mentors like an hour from now to show up.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to get kind of consensus from the mentors about what's a reasonable, if it once every 2 weeks, and ask who's willing to put in, an effort on what frequency. Okay. So there's more action items there. Podcast. I'm listening to the new podcasts and really enjoying them and tweeting them, and yeah. Great stuff. Fantastic work getting those out, Federico. We've onboarded Joe. Yay, Joe's with us. Fantastic. My other item there, more on finding. So this is high priority. That we've got sponsorships for people. We need to allocate them and start giving reports to the sponsors. I just started creating this form here, which I think I've linked to. I guess maybe we'll come back to that in the main body of the meeting. Let's just hit these other items. There is that Federico, I guess we've got an issue now with podcast hosting. Any progress on that front?
No, I'll take a look at it right now during the meeting in the background. See if I got SoundCloud open, so maybe I can see at least how much it costs with SoundCloud.
Yeah, and so we've got the issue that you've prepared the 5th episode, but on the current plan with SoundCloud, we can't host it there.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So okay, cool. So we'll maybe look at the price points for that. Okay, so that brings us into the main body of the meeting. We've got so there's sorting out this Joe email account, which I think also is. I would like to empower both Lara and Federico to be able to create all these kind of emails as necessary. I thought I previously empowered Brent to do it.
So if you'll notice, Brent and I are, oops, I need to sign in, are only admins. We need to be admins for that. You're the only super admin.
Right. So I'm trying to log in over here. Let's see. Come on here. Admin console 4. So for Joe's background, we're being an official charity, we now have access for free to this the Google nonprofit thing. So this is everybody we've got there. So in principle, I can add Joe in here like so, and it will, I think, then ask me for an there. So I think in principle, if I just paste this into this has been created, sign in there, right? Oh, like then there was an option to like send email. That's probably going to be easier. And then so now, Joe, I must have your email address. It's up.
It's JLB 200.
Oh, that's great. I think I've got it now. Excellent.
Oh, you've got it.
Yeah, lovely. Yes. Okay. So you go on, Laura.
Oh, you must just, can you hear me?
I can just about. Go ahead.
So I was just saying, Federico, when you're looking at Elastic Mail to add Joe, I can't remember if we used the generic email, if it was marketing at Agile Ventures, because I think we were only allowed one user. Can't remember.
Actually, it's sort of a mix. Like, I think you have your regular email. I have my AV email. I think we should push to, like, stuff like that, like Elastic Email, we should push to use our AV email, especially with new people, for like Joe.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so what I'm doing here in the background is we've got this user management admins, and I'm setting up Federico and Lara with your Agile Ventures accounts to have user admin. So that means that in a future situation, you should be able to create new users and get them sent an email to help them log in and get set up in the future.
Okay, I'll try to verify that quickly.
Yeah, great. And so in principle, Joe, as a consequence of this, you'll get that email. That you'll then basically have a Joe at agileventures.org account, and you'll also, in principle, have access to our calendars and the Google Docs and all the different bits and pieces that go with that.
Yeah.
And that
go on, Federico.
I was just saying it did work. I did.
Okay. Oh, cool. So you have the power. So Federico and Lara are empowered there, and I'm very pleased about that. But yeah, so then we have the Elastic Mail, and yeah, because this is something, Joe, that you were asking about previously was, what templates did we have? What were we using? So it looks like I'm logged in there with my Sam at agileventures.org account. I don't really know how to admin the system here, or even if I am an admin.
I'll do that right now.
Okay, so Federico, you have access to this, and so you can invite Joe in and manage that through whichever mechanism, right?
Yeah.
And so Joe, go on, Joe.
Do you have your mailing list on Elastic Mail?
We do.
Yeah. Okay.
We do, and then so we have. You can actually see the templates for all the previous, in what are they called, newsletters that we've done in the past.
So do you mind me using this? Do you mind me using this to send out like a canvassing email to sort of previous members and current members to ask them about interviews and things like that?
I don't mind you doing that, although I think before you did it, we would maybe want to coordinate that. Yeah, just because we've got, this email list includes it's a very large number of people, and
yeah, okay.
People just in also in these different categories. So I think we probably want to. Are we going to be looking for specifically from like the premium members versus all of the members versus members who've been active and so on and so forth? So let's make a plan there, and then we've got other mailing lists in different places.
Yeah.
And so on. So we can work out a strategy there. yeah, good. Thanks for asking that. And Federico, I think, is the one who really knows the whole sequence of things to get done to get the newsletter out as you know, in all those details and all those steps. And we do have that. We're starting to have that documented. Maybe something we need to push further forward on. But let's get the next one out. So is that? I think have we covered all of the items here from on your section, Federico?
Not really. I just sent out the. I just gave Jo access to Elastic Email via her new AV account.
Right.
So
okay.
Once she sets that up, she'll have access. But let's see. Am I sharing my screen?
You are.
Yeah. Well, I guess you sort of just showed it right now. I just created a simple copy template of our previous October newsletter.
Right.
And I just created it right here, and it's really just basically the same thing. I think, like Laura suggested, we should keep the same color. So I think we should stick to this color.
Mm-hmm.
And I just put up in the headings the different, like what we're gonna talk about. We already have December's newsletters topic set, Jo. So I think what you're trying to work on, I think, will be a good start. Maybe if you see this one go out, help us release it, and then the things you're talking about will probably be sort of time consuming, like to gather up all those interviews and everything. So that might be good for the January newsletter.
Yeah, absolutely.
And but I do have, so this is just a copy of October's with the headings set for the topic, like the new mobs, Cess's blog, Santa Police sponsorships available. But yeah, it's all the old content. So that's really it. Just I'll post this link to this newsletter, and that's about it. All I have. That's all I was able to get done last night. Just basically the copy and the template, the scaffolding. I'll try to work on it during these couple of days, I guess, to get it out.
That's a great start, Federico.
Yep.
Fantastic. Yeah. So on that note, is there content that you would like to like content writing task that you'd like to assign to anybody or hand out or look for volunteers?
Not really. I'm kind of hesitant to do that.
Well, I just sort of mean me. Like if there's like a blog article that needs to be written or what have you.
Well,
but, yeah.
Well, actually, the educational stuff was a real hit last month. Do you have anything that you might suggest for that?
I can try and find something. Yeah. I mean, we should definitely put Will's blockchain thing. Go on, Lara. Sorry, Lara, are you trying to say something? I guess maybe we've lost Lara. She only said she'd have half an hour. Yeah, I can certainly try and come up with some more educational stuff. Federico, I was just thinking also that Will's blockchain mob would be great to mention.
Right. So I have that set up right here. New mobs. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So I'll talk about like the 5 new mobs or whatever we have.
Yep. All right. So anything else that we need to work out as regards to the newsletter? No. Lara and I have been able to speak about the NHS Wiki. Lara, you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry, I just went through a bit of a bad patch there.
No problem.
So I'm back in education.
Did you want to say something about the newsletter there?
Yeah, so I said, I'll definitely contribute to the next one because I need to still write about my Scrum course.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Getting a new job and yeah.
Wonderful. Excellent. So I think that brings us up maybe to our last item, which is just this application for Agile Ventures Premium sponsorship, which I've hopefully, I mean, I'm trying to move it into the Google Docs so that we could all edit it and have access to it. I think that's the thing that I kind of need to do going forward, does that even? Yeah, I think maybe it's in there. I've shared it with sam@agileveterans.org. There's also, everybody should be able to view the this link, which I'm sharing in the channel. But basically, we have these, generous donors who pay money for other people who don't have so much money to get the benefits of premium subscriptions. And so I guess there's, we could just hand them out random, first come, first served, but we would like to, prioritize people for whom it's difficult to find these resources, the money to pay for them, and also to ensure that the people who are taking them up do actually have time to take advantage of them. It's a bit, there is a benefit, that I think it's a benefit to the whole community and the individual if they're actually able to find the time to take advantage of them. So I've just, created a form, first name, last name, preferred contact email, and then I'm asking which country you live in and what is the nearest city to you. I mean, partly this is something we've asked before of members, but or different people, but it's like to try and work out, what's the financial backdrop for this person. I mean, if they've got, if they've got a full-time IT job in San Francisco, then I think that they're maybe not top priority for us in terms of helping. And so we've got access to information about GDP for different countries. So that's that's why I've got that in there. And then to say which level are you interested in, and also mentions the costs of those, and then asking how many paid hours they work per week, which industry they work in, if they're working remotely, where's the company based, and how many hours do you have free to devote to programming, was as far as I got before various meetings came up. And I think we would love people to submit, a resume or a covering letter. I mean, that could just be to what are they called? Multi-line text items there. I'll keep working on this. Does anybody have any input on this at this time?
Yeah, so I'm not so sure we should request resumes. I think it might be a little too onerous. I think it's wonderful that you got this done. I think this might be enough. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I, to be honest, I don't think we have to have full resumes. I mean, it would be. I think it's an interesting question. It's sort of, for some people, it's difficult, isn't it? Because by asking for the resume, we're asking them to be organized to put a resume together. And some timid people will be completely put off by that and will not even apply as a result. But part of what we're trying to do with the framework is help people get to the stage where they would actually able to get an IT job.
Yeah. And that requires.
Yeah. I mean, the format of the resume is far less important to me than the person who's taking the time to pull the information together. I mean, what I love about, for example, with LinkedIn, they've got a thing, and you just press a button, apply with LinkedIn, and it pulls in their LinkedIn history, which is very nice. Go on.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking of that. Like, could we say like a resume or a profile, such as LinkedIn?
Yeah. That, I mean, absolutely. And to be honest, I would almost rather have people's, LinkedIn thing with their connections and everything, and I can then friend them on LinkedIn, and that's another channel for communication.
Yeah. So that's all I have on that. Good job on getting that done. I really like that survey. Yeah.
Started at least. It's a draft form. I guess my main concern is just, is it wrong to kind of be trying to give it out on merit, and be what we're trying to do with part of this is, find out and prioritize people who have got less means. But it's a very personal thing, isn't it? About, you might be working in a high-paying job, but then you've got a lot of expenses, and you've got to look after elderly parents and so on. So I guess I don't want to make it seem draconian and intrusive. At the same time, I think what we want is my intuition there that we try and direct help and support to people who have less. Is that the wrong thing to do here?
Well, I think it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, well, I was just going to say that I thought that the covering letter and CV is a good idea just because like you were saying earlier, it tends to bring up people who are really determined to kind of make those steps and progress
Mm.
themselves.
Hmm.
Whereas if it's just kind of based on means testing, you might get some people involved who aren't really that dedicated to it, and then that's a membership that could be going to someone else who really was dedicated to it.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, good point, Joe. Go on, Federico, you were going to say something else?
Well, actually, Joe reminds me that having some sort of actually not hurdles, but like an application process does sort of give it more value, at least that the perception of value in the end, to where they might actually utilize the service. And I think I had another thought, but it's I forgot. So
I didn't
Yeah.
realize I was on mute.
Go
I
on,
think
Lara.
maybe also some rules in terms of like, you know, they have to participate.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. The yes, it's ironic actually, because you know, in our attempt to be open to everyone, is that almost if you don't make things at least slightly competitive to get involved in, then people don't value them as highly. And I think people, you know, perhaps take more seriously things when they've gone through an application process and then they've been accepted, rather than just they've sort of rolled up and said, "Can I do this?" And you say, "Okay." Then you know, yeah. I mean, I sort of despise formality in some ways, but it seems like it has its value. I mean, similarly with sort of rules, I rather than having blanket rules, I like the idea of just working out with what works for people. But at the same time, you know, for some people, I think that's very vague, and you know, good to have some rules.
but I do like that one rule that we thought of, that having it be sort of sunset with the
Yeah.
option to renew.
Yes, I think that's our experience of the way that it works is that, you know, people come, they get involved, they get help, they then get jobs, and it's then right. So and they both have more income and less time to actually derive value from it. We've had some success in having people convert from being sponsored to actually be sponsors, and but yeah, making the sunsetting conditions clear is also important, I think.
And I think, just to answer your original question, and my thought that I forgot was that, yeah, having it tilt toward like a job seeker, which was I think your main emphasis,
Right.
is probably a good thing. I think we could make an exception for someone who just, even though they have a job,
Yeah.
Their budget is real tight.
Sure.
I think that could work if they make that clear, if they want to share that. I think we can make an exception for that. Yeah.
I agree. There's absolutely, you know, some people are in work but extremely financially limited, and but you know, they're trying to make the progression from beginner to intermediate, and you know, they're also people that we want to help. So yeah, good stuff. Thank you for the great input. I'll keep working on that form and try and get that revised and out ASAP. I think that's our meeting. Wonderful to have Joe involved. Does anybody have any final questions or concerns that we need to address?
Just generally about meetings. Do you normally do like a weekly meeting, or is it monthly, or is this something you're still trying to arrange?
Well, we for most of this year, we did have a fairly consistent pattern of doing a Monday and a Thursday meeting each week.
Right.
And that it's the last sort of 6 weeks or so that hasn't happened. And we're basically, with changes in people's availability and so on, we're now trying to reestablish a pattern. But I think a once a week meeting is probably what we're going for now going forwards. And I'm hoping that we can. I mean, next week I'm going to be off. Then the week after it's the new year. I'm hoping that we might be able to have a meeting at this time on Wednesdays. So each Wednesday. I think that's a good day for you, Joe. I know it works for me and possibly for Lara and Federico.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's fine for me. I think just for Joe, we used to have it twice a week because it was marketing was quite a new thing, and then as the year progressed, and we've got a lot of things done, we've only needed like a weekly meeting now. So, but yeah, Mondays or Wednesdays will work well for me.
So I would not to draw this out, but I mean that will have the knock-on effect of having to move the Elixir mob,
right?
And that will surely cause more things to have to be moved.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yes, I think so. But I think we're going to need to move a lot. I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be moved around and readjusted. And I think going through the transition of the New Year period is the time to do it. So, yeah, we will. I think we've got to look both at the future of the Elixir and the React mobs. So yeah, not moving it there is not without consequences. And we have that decision. Hasn't been finalized. I think what we're going to be looking at, have a break for a week, come back on that. The following week and sort the schedule out.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, hey, it'll be good. We'll get a brand new schedule and it'll all be, anyway. Cool. So that's where we are. Also, yeah. But you mentioned, thanks so much, Federico, for setting up the marketing stand-up league, which I think is great, and that certainly replaces the need for a second weekly meeting.
But by the way, did that work out the way it looks now? Posting directly to the answers directly to the channel, is that better? You know what I mean?
Okay, I would say, yeah. I think that's great.
Okay,
wonderful. All right.
You're confident? No. Okay.
Oh, I guess there's that separate conversation that we had about, keeping them until everybody's put them in. But I think this is absolutely fine. Let's experiment with this for the next few month or two, and then we can reflect. But I think it's good. Definitely an improvement over the situation with the threads.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm so glad that we could have a marketing meeting, I guess, and have a fantastic festive period, assuming there is festivities going on for you. And I'll probably see some of you before then. But yeah, so no big meetings next week, and look forward to seeing you all in the new year.
You too. Keep well, everyone. Okay.
Likewise. All right. Take care. Bye for now.
Sounds good. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.